we're getting ready to start our Cubism animal painting. These are the supplies you need. You need a small newsboard, which is in your portfolio, a Cubism animal printout, which can be located on Google Classroom, a pencil, a regular pen, any type of tape, Scotch tape works, and a ruler. Hi guys, I'm going to take my picture, I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to use the side of my pencil to color in the back. I'm not coloring in the whole back of the page, just anywhere where there's a print of the animal that's on the other side. I'm covering all the areas to make sure that it's all covered, so when I go to transfer it, the lead will transfer to our newsboard, which you can see located on my left-hand side. So I'm just going to color this back and forth. It will take a little more time. This video is sped up just for this purpose. Right there, I was just checking my work, making sure I have coverage on the whole animal. Now I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to take this, and I'm going to lay it with the colored side down right on top of that newsboard. I'm going to make sure it's nice and straight. Once it's in this position, I suggest grabbing a piece of tape and taping it right to the newsboard so you can transfer very easily. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm just lining it up so I feel like it's in the center of my newsboard, which it is. And I'm applying a piece of just regular tape to the board and the paper so it doesn't move. It is very important that you do not move while you're tracing. Now I'm grabbing a red pen or a different color pen that has a metal tip, and I'm just tracing all the lines the best I can to get the image transferred to the board. And as I do this, I'm just going as slow as I can. It's okay if it's a little off because we can go back with our ruler, as you'll see in a little bit, to straighten those lines and make sure it looks like a nice cohesive image. My suggestion, I know I didn't do this in the video, is to just trace the outline really of the animal first so you know you have that down, and then go in and trace those other lines. I am using a red pen because it shows me everything that I've traced over and everything that needs to be traced yet. So the red pen allows me to see right over those black lines that are there and allows me to transfer easily, knowing whatever else I have to trace as I go along. And I'm just gonna keep tracing, trying to be as straight as I can with the lines. It's probably not the straightest ever, but when I get done with this step, I will, I will make sure that all those lines are nice and straight. It is so important that you do not pick up the paper to check. Just try to trace all the way through. It's okay to take some breaks here or there, but do not move that white paper off of the board. If you move it, you'll risk your image being off or, not matching up. So I'm taking breaks here or there just to make those lines. I normally would speed this part of the video up, but I think it is very important that we kind of work through it and watch through it together just so you can see what you're doing. If you don't have a red pen, that's okay. You can use black or blue, either two. I just like to use a different color, just like I said, so I know exactly what I traced, and I won't flip that over until everything has a red line traced over it. This method is really good for all types of art, especially when you don't have time to really draw out the grid. We could have drawn out the grid and tried to draw this, but I feel like with all the other lines, it could have been a little too complicated. So that's why we are transferring first, and then we're using our ruler to straighten out those lines. So I'm lifting my page right now, and I'm revealing the final image of my giraffe that I'm pointing to. I'm going to put my pen to the side because from here out we're just going to use pencil, and I'm going to use my ruler and start straightening some of these lines. They're in pretty good spots, so I just have to reference my photo and do my best to just line it up to use the ruler as a straight edge. And you'll see I'm making the marks a little bit darker. We're going to paint over them. Our paint that we use in class goes over pencil really, really well. So, you want to just make sure that you're using pencil from here on out. No pen, no marker, no anything on this paper. And I'm just cleaning up some of the lines that I can freehand. And then when I do need my ruler, you'll see I'll grab it right now. I use my ruler to make sure they're nice and straight. Neat lines and straight lines for this project are very, very important. Paint is a little bit different than your pencil or marker to handle. So having those straight guidelines is going to be very helpful during the painting process. And I'm just using my ruler to get the right angles. From this point, you can add some sections in there if you want. I kept it the same as the picture, but you feel free to add sections. We're not taking any away, but you can add more if you wanted to break them down. I think they have an appropriate number of sections for our skill level. It's going to allow us to have tons and tons of different values and use different color schemes in this drawing. Once you transfer, before you go to this step, it is a little bit light, so just really, really take your time and pay attention. This whole drawing process should probably take a full class period to get it correct. From transferring it to cleaning up the lines, this step is really a must. You don't want to just start painting because you want to be able to have a good place to plan. So you want these sections of the giraffe or whatever animal you're doing to be nice and clean lines. And I'm just taking my time using my pencil to outline the giraffe. And some of those lines I just have to clean up, and that's okay. That's why we have an eraser, and that's why we're using pencil. So I have a really nice outline going. Once you get the outline of the animal down, it's really a lot easier, I found, to put those lines in. So once you get those outline shapes down, like I'm doing right now, it became a lot easier to clean up those lines and make them correct. And mistakes are okay, they're gonna happen, so just embrace them. Like I said, that's why we're using a pencil. I'm trying to line up the best I can with the photo and just match the best I can. In this particular image, each side of the giraffe's head is the same. So I just try to make sure I have the same amount of spaces in each. By transferring, I kind of have a blueprint of where they go, and using the ruler is really like the final step in the transferring process. No matter what we transfer, when we transfer, especially if it has straight lines, you're always using a ruler. The ruler, you're not even measuring with it. You're really just using it for the straight edge, and that's so important. I can't stress enough, that's the difference between a neat project and a sloppy project. I feel like we experienced that with op art. If your lines weren't straight, it didn't look really well. So you want to make sure that you are really taking your time, like I'm doing here, and putting in those lines as straight as I can. It really does help too on the surface you're working on. You should probably be working at a table or a desk, something where you're sitting and you're able to maneuver the ruler and move your project as needed to get those angles in correctly. And it's slowly coming together right now. Like I said, this is really the same shapes on one side that it is the other. So you'll see this next, after I get this one side of shapes in, the next side goes really, really fast. It probably takes me, that side maybe took me 5 minutes. This side takes me about like 2, a little less than that. So once I get the lines all in, I'm able to, you know, maneuver a little bit faster and move a little faster and maneuver my painting and, well, my drawing for my painting the way I need it to. I also have told you guys I like to turn my page a lot and like work upside down in whatever way I feel like I need to. So don't be afraid to adjust your paper too. It doesn't always have to be a giraffe looking right at you or whatever animal looking at you. If you have to turn it upside down to the side, especially to fit on the space that you're working on. This drawing part is probably the most tedious part of the whole project, and then once we start getting into the paint and using that, it does get a little bit easier. Alright, I'm finishing up these lines here. Almost done. I'm going to put in the bottom ones. The last couple are going in right now. And once I'm done, you'll see I'll have a nice drawing onto my board, a nice clean transfer ready for paint. This is probably one of the only projects that we will do this kind of transfer method. So we're going back to the grid eventually. But there you go. Perfect. Looks great. Just cleaning up some of my lines, making sure everything is where I want it to be. And there you go.